Do you want a magic paintbrush? Will you be happy after getting it, or will it bring danger? Would you hide it from everyone? Let's find out. Once upon a time, in a quaint village by the sea, there lived a young boy named Tom. Tom was an orphan who lived alone in a small, weathered cottage at the edge of the village. Though his life was difficult, Tom was a kind and gentle soul, known for his cheerful smile and willingness to help others. Tom had a deep passion for painting, but he was very poor and could not afford the materials that other artists used. Still, his love for art was so strong that he used whatever he could find to create his masterpieces. Sometimes he would crush berries to make colors, or he would use bits of charcoal from the fireplace to sketch pictures on pieces of wood. His art was simple, but it was filled with emotion and life. Each day after finishing his chores, Tom would walk along the beach, drawing pictures in the sand with a stick. He loved the way the waves would gently wash over his creations, making them seem to dance before they disappeared. He dreamed of one day having real paints and brushes so he could create art that would last forever. The people in the village admired Tom's spirit, though many felt sorry for the boy who had no family to care for him. They often gave him small gifts of food or clothing, but they knew that what Tom really wanted was a proper set of painting supplies. One bright morning, as Tom was walking through the village square, he noticed an old man sitting on a bench looking tired and hungry. The old man had a kind face, but his clothes were ragged, and his hands trembled from the cold. Tom, feeling a pang of sympathy, approached the man and offered him the small loaf of bread he had been saving for his lunch. The old man looked up at Tom with grateful eyes and smiled warmly. "Thank you, young one," he said in a voice that was gentle but strong. "You have a kind heart to share what little you have." Tom smiled shyly, happy to have been able to help. "It's nothing," he replied. "I just thought you might need it more than I do." The old man nodded and took a small bite of the bread. After a moment, he reached into the folds of his tattered coat and pulled out a small, intricately carved wooden box. He held it out to Tom. "One time, for your kindness, I have something for you," the man said. "It is a gift that has been passed down through many generations. Use it wisely." Tom hesitated for a moment, unsure if he should accept such a valuable-looking gift. But the old man's eyes were kind and reassuring, so Tom took the box and opened it. Inside, nestled on a bed of soft cloth, was a paintbrush unlike any he had ever seen. The handle was made of polished mahogany wood, and the bristles were golden and soft as silk. "This is a magic paintbrush," the old man explained. "Whatever you paint with it will come to life. But remember, Tom, the true magic lies not in the brush itself, but in the heart of the person who wields it. Use it with kindness and good intentions, and it will bring joy to many." Tom was speechless with wonder. A magic paintbrush! It was more than he had ever dreamed of. He thanked the old man profusely, but when he looked up, the man had vanished, leaving Tom alone with his new treasure. Eager to try out the paintbrush, Tom hurried back to his cottage. He filled a small cup with water and dipped the brush into it. With a heart full of excitement, he painted a simple picture of a fish on a piece of wood. To his amazement, the fish shimmered with life and leaped off the wood, swimming through the air as if it were in water. Tom laughed with delight as the fish swam around the room, its scales sparkling in the sunlight. He quickly painted a bowl of water for the fish to swim in, and the fish happily settled into its new home. Over the next few days, Tom spent every moment he could with his magic paintbrush. He painted birds that flew around his cottage, filling the air with their sweet songs. He painted flowers that bloomed in brilliant colors, filling his home with a wonderful fragrance. He even painted a small tree outside his cottage, and it grew tall and strong, its branches heavy with ripe, juicy apples. Tom's life changed in ways he could never have imagined. The villagers were astonished when they saw the things Tom had created. They came from all around to see the boy with the magic paintbrush and to ask him to paint things for them. Tom was happy to help, and he used his brush to bring joy and comfort to everyone he met. For the poor farmers who struggled to grow enough food, Tom painted fields full of golden wheat and ripe vegetables. For the fishermen whose nets came up empty, Tom painted schools of fish that filled their boats. For the children who had no toys to play with, Tom painted dolls, kites, and spinning tops that came to life, bringing smiles to their faces. As Tom's fame spread, people began to visit the village from far and wide, bringing gifts in exchange for his paintings. The villagers who had once been poor and struggling now enjoyed a time of prosperity. They no longer had to worry about hunger or hardship, for Tom's magic brush had filled their lives with abundance. Despite all the attention and praise, Tom remained humble and generous. He continued to live in his small cottage and gave away most of the gifts he received to those in need. He knew that the magic of the paintbrush was meant to be shared, and that his happiness came from helping others. But not everyone in the village was pleased with Tom's success. In a large mansion on the hill overlooking the village, there lived a wealthy man named Lord Blackwell. Lord Blackwell was a proud and greedy man who cared only about increasing his wealth and power. When he heard about Tom's magic paintbrush, he became consumed with envy and greed. If I had that paintbrush, Lord Blackwell thought to himself, I could paint gold, jewels, and treasures beyond imagination. I could become the richest man in the world. Determined to possess the brush, Lord Blackwell devised a plan. He sent his servants to Tom's cottage with orders to bring the boy to his mansion. When Tom arrived, he was ushered into a grand room filled with expensive furniture, fine carpets, and glittering chandeliers. Lord Blackwell, dressed in rich silks and adorned with gold rings, sat in a large chair at the center of the room. He looked down at Tom with a cold, calculating gaze. "Welcome, young Tom," Lord Blackwell said in a smooth, oily voice. "I've heard of your remarkable talent. It is said that you possess a magic paintbrush that can bring anything you paint to life." Tom nodded, feeling a bit uneasy under the man's intense stare. "Yes, my lord," he replied. "The brush is indeed magic, but it is meant to be used to help others." Lord Blackwell's smile did not reach his eyes. Of course, he said dismissively. "But think of the possibilities, boy. With such power, you could paint treasures beyond your wildest dreams. I want you to paint me a chest filled with gold coins." Tom hesitated. He knew that the magic paintbrush was not meant for selfish gain, and he had no desire to use it to create wealth for someone as greedy as Lord Blackwell. "I'm sorry, my lord," Tom said, gathering his courage. "The brush is meant to be used for good, not for greed. I cannot do as you ask." Lord Blackwell's smile vanished, replaced by a look of cold fury. "You dare to defy me, boy," he snarled. "Do you know who I am? I could have you thrown into the dungeon for your insolence." Tom stood firm, though his heart pounded in his chest. "I will not use the brush for greed, no matter what you do," he said bravely. Enraged, Lord Blackwell ordered his servants to seize Tom and lock him in a dark, windowless room deep within the mansion. The door was bolted shut, and Tom was left alone, his heart heavy with fear and sorrow. Is Tom's capture by Lord Blackwell just a nightmare, or is it real? Will he stay trapped in that dark room forever? To find out, click the video here or follow the link in the description.